Okay, guys. So I posted a an article in the article section here under resources. So if you can check that out when you have a chance, I'm going to refer to that article a good bit here. I just wanted to do a quick kind of micro lesson, just talking about impermanent loss. So impermanent loss is essentially when you enter into a liquidity pool and you choose two different coins. Impermanent loss essentially is when those coins change in value. Um, your your two parts of your pair, your two coins, if those change in value, what happens is your pair gets converted to one of two of those coins. So, for example, if you have USDT and uh, Solana goes out of range, then your complete pair is converted to complete USDT. So you no longer have Solana and USDT. And so if that happens, you've now lost your Solana and you have to rebuy Solana at a higher rate. And so you have a loss in that sense because you had maybe bought it at a cheaper. I mean, the assumption is that you bought it at a cheaper price, and now you have to buy it at a more expensive price. So the argument becomes, why didn't you just hold Solana and not enter into a pool? So that's what impermanent loss looks like typically. It's when you lose money on the value of the coins because you have them in a pool. And impermanent loss happens, and I explain here in the article um, that it happens, and sometimes scares people away from investing in liquidity pools. My argument is that you can invest in pairs um, where you will make enough fees to cover those potential changes in price, and that in the long run, even if you do incur impermanent loss, and I do incur it sometimes, that the benefits outweigh the disadvantages. So, and that's what the article sort of talks about is, what are the benefits of it? What are the benefits of liquidity pools in spite of impermanent loss? And should you consider impermanent loss and should you try to avoid it, which you should, or should you avoid entirely liquidity pools because of this? And some people do avoid liquidity pools because of impermanent loss. I don't choose to because I don't think it's been. I think it can be mitigated, is what I'm saying essentially. So, um, and they have causes here that I put in here. Price divergence, when the price of the assets in the liquidity pool diverges significantly from the time when you deposited it, you can incur loss. And the more divergence, obviously, the more substantial the loss. And then volatile market conditions can cause it too, which you can see that's sort of the cause um, of, I guess, number one. And then large trades, significant trades in the liquidity pool can cause price slippage. So I talked about this, I think, in a few other videos where liquidity pools are kind of like swimming pools. The larger they are, the less people can affect them with waves that they make. If people make waves in a small pool, you feel the waves more significantly. So when large trades happen in a small pool, the price can shift dramatically and it can cause impermanent loss. So some strategies to minimize it, and these are the things that I typically do. Choose low volatility asset pairs, and so choose pairs that aren't going to fluctuate a lot. I don't, invest in Bitcoin in liquidity pools. You don't see it very often anyway, but it's pretty volatile. I don't invest in coins that jump around a lot, and that's why you see Ethereum as a real common asset in liquidity pools. One of the probably the most popular, because Ethereum is fairly stable for how popular it is. You can also use stable coins, and again, DAI, by the way, is one that is really common too, because DAI is pretty stable. But you can use USDT and USDC. You can use stable coins to kind of balance the pair. And so when I invest, in pools, I usually use USDC and maybe Solana, or USDT and Ethereum. A volatile, non-volatile pair like that is going to be a lot more stable, and you're not going to experience as much impermanent loss as you would if you, for example, um, chose a meme coin, for example. Concentrated liquidity is something that you should consider too. Concentrated liquidity is when you're choosing a price point. You're choosing to get fees for a certain price point. If you invest in a liquidity pool and you deposit and you don't choose concentrated, it's going to give you fees across any price point. And so, you aren't really getting fees. You aren't really maximizing your potential for fees if you do that. So if you narrow the range, and I'll show you in the next video how to do this. I have a few videos I think where I show you how to do that, but I'll show you in a sort of micro lesson how to do that. But concentrated liquidity pools are going to give you you're going to get more bang for your buck. You're going to be able to maximize the fees or the times that you actually receive fees. You can diversify across pools as well. And this kind of helps with risk management by spreading liquidity across multiple pools with different asset pairs, and that way you balance out your losses. This is what I do a lot. I'll have one volatile pair, and I'll have a larger, maybe volatile stable pair. I tend to put most of my big assets in at least the stable volatile, so like at least the Solana USDT or something even more stable. I don't tend to put as much of my assets in volatile pairs, but that's just because I'm sort of moderate in terms of my risk profile, I guess. Also, timing your entry and your exit well is going to help to mitigate this too. So, watching the market conditions, trying to project where things are going to go, that can definitely help you to avoid impermanent loss. And then, monitoring the pool performance and rebalancing regularly. If you leave these things alone and don't pay attention to them, you can incur some losses. Also, if they go out of range, you aren't collecting fees when this happens. So keep that in mind. And there are also impermanent loss protection services in some cases, insurance and things like that. But, obviously stay informed and educated, learn as much as you can, watch videos like these from me and other YouTubers and try to kind of get, an idea of how to avoid it. But really the way to avoid it is just to kind of mitigate your risks and diversify. I think that's kind of what you would do in any financial situation if you're trying to avoid risk. And then, just to kind of, tie this up, try to diversify, try to concentrate your liquidity so that you get maximum fees. Try to make sure that you're depositing pairs that are somewhat stable and not risky. And if you don't do that, then try to diversify across multiple pools. But you're going to incur more risk if you deposit risky pairs. So just keep that in mind. I balance it again by having some stable pairs that I invest in, and then also investing in some less stable pairs. So I'll have the bulk of my money in USDT, Solana, for example, and then I'll here and there I'll look at meme coins maybe, and I'll throw some money into a meme coin pair, things like that. So you have and a lot of it's up to you. You have to kind of figure out what your risk profile is, but this should just be kind of a start to kind of introducing you to impermanent loss, what it is, and then how to hopefully mitigate it. Hopefully this has helped. Let me know in the comments if it did or if it didn't, and let me know also in the comments what kinds of other videos you'd like to see in the private group so that you can kind of get some information that you need to kind of get to where you need to be. And that's really what I wanted to talk about too before I go. I really need to hear from all of you about what you want to see in the group. So if you can start posting comments in the community, in the discussion board up here, let me know what kinds of things you want to see. I'll start doing these daily kind of lessons and maybe even a few live events. But again, let me know if this helped, and let me know what you'd like to see more of in the future. And I'll see you soon.